A student named Minato appears in the capital after informing his mother on the phone about the results of his exam. He enters a train and thinks about the way he has been leading his life, with no close friends and having failed the exam for the second time. He believes himself a failure. He notices the main building of the company MBI, which is a high skyscraper, and remarks that MBI was founded by a child prodigy. After leaving the train, he questions himself about whether he would manage to get a decent girlfriend while walking home and suddenly feels the ground shaking. He looks around him and notices a girl falling from the sky, who screams to get out of her way. The girl who fell on top of him was being attacked by two other Sekirei who seemed to generate electricity. Frightened, he questions if he truly witnessed a lightning attack but is dragged off by the girl before receiving any answers. After being dragged off to a faraway place, the girl apologizes to Minato for involving him and introduces herself as Musubi. Minato seems to be attracted to Musubi but starts to wonder about what exactly happened and who those people were. Suddenly, Musubi collapses from exhaustion, and Minato takes her to his apartment, where he treats her to hamburgers in order to make her regain energy. While Musubi was expressing her gratitude to Minato and tells Minato that she has nowhere to return to, and Minato says that it is all right, but relationships are not allowed in the apartment complex. He inquires about the incident, and Musubi asks him to be her Ashikabi. When Minato asks what that is, Musubi tells him that it's someone precious to her, to guide them to a higher sky, and she has been looking for one for a long time. After confronting the landlord about having a woman in his apartment, Minato tells Musubi about modesty. After lunch at Skyland, Musubi goes to the market to get food for dinner, and Minato goes to the bank. While he walks there, the twin Sekirei, Hikari and Hibiki, see him and soon see Musubi as she comes running up. The twins wonder why, since she is with a man, she has not emerged yet. Minato jumps in front of Musubi to protect her in battle and runs off with her, dodging lightning. He runs to an alleyway and puts Musubi down. She feels really hot and looks very red. She then grabs him, and they kiss, therefore making Minato an Ashikabi. That is the winging process. She gets lifed, and she becomes very, very bright. Once a Sekirei emerges, the twins start attacking. Once Musubi made contact, she became much more powerful and defensive of her Ashikabi. According to the twins, eventually there will be a battle royale staged in the city. This will eventually be known as the Sekirei plan. When Minato inquires what they are, Musubi tells him she is a Sekirei. Musubi and Minato in his apartment, where Musubi is cooking dinner, and Minato is talking to his younger sister Yukari, asking her to bring some clothes for Musubi. The TV suddenly and randomly turns on, despite the fact that it was off. On the TV, the MBI president was talking to Minato about him being Musubi's Sekirei partner. The professor talks about the Sekirei plan, which they are starting to enter. Basically, Sekirei are alien beings who are placed in the city and will fight each other, and their masters are the ones they emerge with, or their Ashikabi. The Sekirei plan is highly confidential, and MBI will bully him with all their might if he mentions anything on the outside. An MBI agent stops by their apartment. Thinking they thought he told someone about the plan, Minato freaked out. However, it was just to drop off Musubi's clothes. If she wins, they will ascend to the higher skies together. The landlord finds out about Musubi and kicks them out of the complex. 30 apartment leasing offices later, each one turned Musubi them down because of a lack of budget, and since he failed the exam twice. Homeless and in the rain, Musubi kisses Minato and uses her power, jumping into the sky and blowing away the clouds to cheer him up. After jumping, they fall and land in the garden of the Izumo Inn, where they meet Miya, who treats his wounds. Minato also sees Kagari. Minato and Musubi also briefly meet Uzumi, who comes down to see what's going on. After being lent some clothes and preparing to leave, Minato sees that they have spare rooms at the Izumo Inn on a poster outside. He asks Miya to move in, and she agrees. Later that night, he gets a call from his mother. He informs her that he'll be moving and asks for an allowance, but receives an angry response from his mother, who tells him that he gets a reduction until he gets into college. She also warns him not to rely on his grandmother, and hangs up due to issues with her work. Meanwhile, we see a Sekirei named Akitsu sitting like she is abandoned when a guy named Hayato Mikagami comes up to her and is interested in making her part of his collection. The next day, Minato and Musubi gather their belongings at the old place. Minato also meets his little sister, Yukari, who is to study at a college in the area. She is here to give Minato some girl clothes, as previously requested by him. After they parted, the duo walked back to Izumo Inn. Minato found out a little more from Musubi about the different Sekirei and their abilities when they came across Kagari, who was preparing to go outside. After saying their farewells, Musubi takes a bath and invites Minato, but he declines. While Musubi is in the bath, Minato goes to the tree that Musubi and him landed on when they fell. As he touches the tree, he sees a vision of a small girl asking for his help. In the bath, Musubi meets up with Uzumi, who introduces herself properly while taking a bath together. Uzumi sees Musubi's Sekirei crest and tells her that she is also a Sekirei, and shows Musubi her crest. Musubi gets excited at meeting another Sekirei, and immediately attacks her, since it is what she was taught to do. Minato's attention is drawn towards the sudden noise, and Uzumi appears in front of him while flying out of the window. She hides behind his back and asks him to stop Musubi, because she doesn't have the desire to fight his Sekirei. The quarrel is soon stopped by Mia, who scolds Musubi and afterwards threatens both, Minato included, that she doesn't allow any violence in Izumo Inn. Later that night, Minato continues to have that weird dream whereby that little girl, Kusano, is pleading for his help. The next day, Minato goes to work to help pay for the rent. As he is working, he is introduced to a man named Seo, who suddenly takes an interest in him after sharing his lunch. While Seo and Minato talk, Hikari and Hibiki appear to beat him up for causing trouble for others. As they apologize to Minato before realizing he was the guy with that Musubi, it seems Seo is the Ashikabi of Hikari and Hibiki. Later while working, Seo asks Minato if he knows about the botanical garden. Minato, not knowing about the specifics, receives an explanation from Seo that there are rumors about a Sekirei called the Green Girl, whose current location is inside the garden. After the explanation, Minato and Seo head to the entrance of the botanical garden, where they blast through the entrance thanks to Hibiki and Hikari. During the walk, Minato suddenly sees a vision of Kusano, who points in the direction of her location. She disappears, and Seo then says that the Green Girl has chosen him as his Ashikabi. Meanwhile, Hamura finds the gates completely destroyed and meets the Ashikabi of the south with two of his Sekirei, Yomi and Akitsu. Yomi runs ahead while Hamura fights Akitsu. Musubi also arrives and she mistaken Hamura for Kagari, but dismisses it because she thinks Kagari doesn't wear a mask though he looks similar. Musubi heads in then. Meanwhile, Kusano wakes up from her sleep and looks outside to see if Minato has arrived. Instead, she finds Yomi looking at her and remembers that it was Yomi and Hayato who attacked Kusano and Takami when they were outside walking. Kusano forces her to unleash her great plant-like powers. Minato arrives as Yomi attempts to take Kusano away and rushes in to save her. Though Minato manages to find Kusano, however, and nearly killed when Musubi arrives. They fight, and thanks to Mia's advice to Musubi during training, Musubi wins by touching Yomi's mark and reciting her spell. Musubi proclaims how she protected Minato and her modesty. With Yomi's loss, Hayato couldn't feel her presence anymore and tells Akitsu to return. Back at Izumo Inn, Mia finds out that Minato has brought back Ku, another tenant for her inn. Later that night, Ku tells Minato how she was the one who cushioned his free fall. He thanks her and Ku wants him to be her Ashikabi. She kisses him as her wings sprout, making him her Ashikabi. That's 2 Sekireis Minato has now. The next day, as Minato leaves for work, he is being closely watched by a mysterious woman in a room filled with monitors. Minato notices Ku crying on his way out as she mentions something about her brother Shina, whom she is quite close to and has opposite abilities from hers. Minato then comforts her and assures her that Shina will find a good Ashikabi. As Minato finds out Seo has quit his job, Musubi continues her morning spar with Mia. Minato comes home from work, and to his surprise, finds Seo there. He finds out Seo was Takehito's best friend, who's Mia's husband, and Seo visits at Izumo Inn are mainly for free meals, though Mia personally thinks he's trash. Seo's working as a problem solver now. Hikari and Hibiki then come in to apologize and retrieve their useless Ashikabi for causing inconvenience. That's one problem he can't solve. That night, as Ku headed to the toilet, she got the scare of her life when she thought she had seen a ghost. She runs to Minato, who then checks around the inn with Musubi but finds nothing. The next morning, as Mia visits the grave of her late husband, Musubi and Ku help out to make lunch. Ku looks cute and weird in that wagtail outfit. Uzumi sure has lots of those weird outfits. Meanwhile, Yukari bumps into Shina in the streets. Yukari is totally taken in by his looks and trying hard to control herself. Then Sekirei's number 38, Mitsuha, a Sekirei under Hayato, finds Shina and is under her Ashikabi's orders to bring in unwinged Sekireis. Yukari, who doesn't know what's going on, takes Shina's hand and flees. Back at Izumo Inn, Minato wonders about the fate of the defeated Sekireis as Musubi explains why they are being taken away by the MBI. Though Minato isn't too fond of the idea of a Sekirei being separated by her Ashikabi, Musubi says that being with the person they love is a reward for the last standing Sekirei, and vows not to lose. Because that woman with glasses, Matsu, notices how close Minato and Musubi are, she declares that Musubi is her enemy. On a day when Musubi is running some errands, she unleashes several satellite lasers to blast her. While Musubi runs around, Matsu goes into the bath where Minato is. When he sees it's not Musubi, he begins to get nervous. Meanwhile, Yukari takes Shina back to her place and wonders what to do next, while Musubi continues to evade all those lasers like a pro. Musubi comes home with her clothes in tatters, while Matsu continues to seduce Minato and she attempts to kiss him. Just as she is about to do it, Musubi shows up. Matsu pulls out a net gun and traps Musubi. With Musubi trapped, Matsu tries to kiss Minato again. Then Mia shows up and stops Matsu from going any further. Matsu is then formally introduced to Minato, Musubi, and Kusano. She is the one Ku thought saw a ghost. Matsu also shows them her hidden room, which is actually located right next to the stairs in the wall. She says that she was on the run from MBI and has had to hide in her room all this time. Meanwhile, Mitsuha and Akitsu continue to find the Shina when Hamura appears before them. They attacked him, but had to retreat after realizing they weren't up to matching his superior firepower. He could have nearly burned himself if not for Tsukumi's use of her water powers to cool him down. She's still ranting about not wanting an Ashikabi, and saying she would kill him if she had one. In Yukari's room, she's still thinking of what to do with Shina when he tells her that she is his Ashikabi. At this point, she is still wondering if Shina is a boy or a girl. Later that night, Minato wakes up to see Matsu on top of him. She says that she forgot the ritual and kisses him, making him her Ashikabi. Suddenly, Mia bursts into the room and says that both Minato and Matsu will be punished for Matsu sneaking into Minato's room. The next morning, Minato sees Kagari in bandages as Mia feeds him before her usual sparring with Musubi. While Minato is sleeping, he has a dream of Tsukiumi threatening to kill him. So Minato goes to ask information specialist Matsu more about this particular Sekirei, and finds out more about the Sekirei plan. It seems that 90% of the Sekireis in the city have been winged and that the next phase will soon begin. Also, Matsu mentions how it isn't unusual for other unwinged Sekireis to be attracted to or react to an Ashikabi that has multiple Sekireis. After getting a match for Minato's description, Matsu informs Minato that the Sekirei from his dream is named Tsukiumi, Sekirei number 9, a powerful but dangerous Sekirei who hates Ashikabi. Minato is frightened at the prospect of facing her, but Musubi reassures him, and he decides to search for her. Along with Kusano, they begin to search the city for Tsukiumi, and at the same time, Hikari and Hibiki are attacking Tsukiumi, but the tables are turned on them. Soon Minato runs into Seo, and the latter seems to know Minato has more Sekirei than Matsu in particular. When the twins arrive with Tsukiumi hot on their tail, Tsukiumi starts to react to Minato's powers as she feels hot and her knees feel weak. Because of that, she declares that she will kill him. Tsukiumi starts attacking Minato. Ku tries to attack back, but Minato stops her, saying that his purpose is to befriend her. Hikari and Hibiki continue to unleash their lightning attacks and power up with Seo. A disadvantage of being an unwinged Sekirei is that her powers are weak. Seo has Tsukiumi in his grasp and wonders if she could be his Sekirei, when Minato declares that Tsukiumi is his. Seo has to let go, because he got zapped by the twins, who are furious as they mentioned they were to be his only Sekireis. Having saved Tsukiumi from the attacks from Seo and the lightning twins, Minato earns Tsukumi's trust. She declares that she will accept his proposal, which she treats as marriage, and that rather than killing him, she prefers kissing him, which she proceeds to do, thus emerging and becoming his fourth Sekirei. Musubi just then arrives at the scene, and seeing that Minato has more than one Sekirei, Tsukumi declares herself his legal wife. Musubi too wants to be Minato's legal wife, so Minato returns to the Izumo Inn with yet another Sekirei. Competition is getting tougher as Ku now clings on harder to her Oni-chan, while Matsu loves watching the bickering drama between Tsukumi and Musubi. Even if Tsukumi is a tough lady, she still can't beat Mia. Kagari himself is surprised that the Ashikabi hater has gotten herself one, but Tsukumi can't seem to put her finger on the fact that Kagari and Hamura are the same person and keeps wondering if they've met somewhere before. Elsewhere, Yukari remembers how Shina told her about the Sekirei plan and even suggests kissing. Back at Izumo Inn, after the usual fight over Minato, like we usually see in harem animes, Tsukumi is relieved to find out that Uzumi isn't Minato's Sekirei. Tsukumi and Musubi take a bath together while Ku has a chat with Minato about which one he likes best. Thankfully, Minato is a humble guy, as he says he's grateful for them choosing a loser guy like him. With that, Ku pecks his cheek, and this sends an uneasy shiver down Tsukumi and Musubi's spines in the bath. Meanwhile, Manaka is the eccentric chairman and founder of MBI, is glad that another Sekirei has been winged and that the second phase is going into motion soon.